This is 108 Stitches. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is mostly a knitting video podcast with sometimes a little bit of other crafting and sometimes some baseball as well. And the baseball season just started, so excited to kind of chat a little bit about what's been going on and get back into the baseball routine. But yeah, thank you so much for joining again. My name is Emily, and I live in Seattle, Washington with my pup Norman and my husband Office. And yeah, I'm just really, I guess I feel out of practice. I've been a little bit less consistent with my recording schedule. It's been a really busy time. Like I mentioned, baseball is started. We have opening day, and so if you are unfamiliar, I work as a baseball analyst for the Seattle Mariners, and so it has been a pretty busy time for me just kind of getting ready for the season. But I'm really excited to just chat with you about what I've kind of been up to, the knitting that I've been doing, and yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and jump right in. A couple of the things that I'm wearing today are actually new finished objects, so I would love to tell you guys about them. So this sweater, you guys may have remembered that this I actually talked about in the last recording that I did as my planned knitting. So I think after I recorded that podcast, I cast on this sweater either that night or the next. And it is the Tulip sweater or Tulip pullover by Melody Hoffman. And I used Stranded Dye Works Merino DK in the Patisserie colorway. And it was a very, very quick knit. So I think maybe just over a week for me, like 7 or 8 days really. And it flew off the needles. I think a couple reasons for that. It's DK weight yarn, so a little bit heavier than I sometimes work with. It's cropped, so like I guess I can stand up and show y'all my waist is like down here. It falls more like closer to the natural waist, and it's also like pretty tight fitting. There's not a ton of positive ease. Like it fits me pretty close to my bust. And so it was really easy and quick, and I love it. I'm really happy with it. I actually, when I was knitting this project, I had in mind to wear it with this dress that I also made, and I will talk to you about in a little bit. As far as like the sizing goes, I actually started off with the smallest size for this sweater. Just that was the one that I thought fit best with my measurements and with my gauge and everything. I didn't do like a full gauge swatch. I didn't like bind it off, knit the whole swatch and bind it off and block it or anything. This sweater has not been blocked yet. I just wanted to wear it today. Oh, that's the other thing. Today, I forgot to say the date. It's April 4th. It is Easter, so happy Easter for those of you that celebrate. But the reason I wanted to wear I really wanted to wear this today. It's called the Tulip sweater. It's like, a nice pretty pink color. It just felt very much like an Easter outfit. And while we're not doing a ton of celebrating here, I grew up, my family, we would always like get Easter outfits and take pictures like outside of church or outside of my grandparents' house. And so we actually, when I moved to Seattle, we started a tradition where I will take a photo of myself with my arms kind of out like this. And then my brother and sister will take a photo, leaving kind of like a space for one person between them. And then my sister will Photoshop the pictures together so that we still have our Easter picture every year. And so I really wanted to wear this outfit, this like completely handmade outfit for our Easter photo this year. So I'll try to include the picture here so that you guys can see it if you are interested, as well as maybe some of the previous year Easter photos, which are pretty fun. But yeah, I just thought, like, I don't know, I think of tulips with like Easter and spring as well, and this is called the Tulip sweater, so I just really wanted to wear it today. So it's not blocked yet, but I'm still really happy with it. I think it may relax even a little bit more and like just give it a little bit of a cleaner kind of, smoothed out stitch relaxation look once I block it, but I don't think it's going to change dramatically. Okay, what was I saying? So I started out knitting the smallest size, and then based on, so I didn't do a full gauge swatch. This is what I was saying. So I didn't like knit the gauge swatch and then bind it off and block it and everything. I just did something that I do pretty often, which is I kind of like knit a couple rows and then kind of like laid it out and measured it without like cutting the yarn or like binding it off of the needles, just like leave it kind of on the needles and kind of hold it out and measure it to try to get my gauge. And I think it was a little bit off. So after I'd been knitting for a while, I measured my gauge again and I was worried that it was going to be too small. So I actually kind of transitioned into a bigger size. So I started and like cast on the number for the smallest size. And then when I did the raglan increases, I increased to a number that would work for the second size. And then I did the rest of the, pattern on the second size. So like the top is the first size. And then I got to the raglan and I have the second size now for the body and the arms. Actually, I think the arms, I may have like 2 stitches fewer than the second size, like the arm circumference or like the number of stitches here may be in between the first and second size, but I wanted to make sure the body number of stitches was the same as for the second size. So that's what I did, and I think it turned out good. I actually kind of like that I have a little bit of a smaller neck here. I think if it was even wider, I wouldn't like that as much, so I'm kind of happy that it turned out that way. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I did have, you may not even notice it, and I don't notice it unless I look really closely, I did have a tiny bit of pooling, so I did not alternate skeins. I should have. I know that I should have. The answer is always to alternate skeins, especially with hand-dyed yarn, but I'm going to be honest, I did not want to. I didn't want to alternate skeins. I didn't want to deal with it, and I was like, it'll be okay. It'll be close enough. So if you look closely, I'll give a couple seconds if you guys want to try to pick out where the skein changes happened or whatever. But so I started at the top. I did the body mostly in one skein until I got about here maybe, and then I switched skeins, and so you can see like the bottom part of the body is a little bit specklier. There are like some darker speckles. The base color I think is the same, so like I'm not that unhappy. And then I finished this sleeve. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at myself, the camera, and it's like mirrored, so anyway, I went to the wrong arm. This sleeve I finished with the same skein that's at the bottom of the body, so you can see that it kind of matches, like the color and the frequency of the speckles are pretty similar to this bottom part here. And then this arm is a new skein, like is the third skein, which matches, I think, better the top part of the body. So like one arm is a little bit specklier and like darker speckles than the other, and the body like changes a little bit. But actually on the back, I feel like it doesn't look that different. I don't know if you can see me. I'll squat a little bit. But the back, I feel like it's just pretty speckly, the whole thing. I'll move my hair. So anyway, it doesn't bother me enough that I'm gonna like undo it or anything, but I do, like, if I look closely, I notice it, and I don't know, I probably, if I did again, I wouldn't, because it really annoys me to alternate skeins, so I'm not unhappy, but it's just, I don't know, I kind of noticed. So yeah, that's the Tulip sweater, and I'm happy with it. It's pretty cropped, so I'll probably only wear it with, like, really high-waisted pants or on top of, like, dresses, which I really like it on top of this dress. I think it fits really well. I think it goes together really well, and I'm happy with it. So that's the Tulip sweater by Melody Hoffman. And my other finished object that I have to share with you, I am also wearing, and it is the All Well box top ruffle dress. So this is a pattern that I got, I don't even remember how I found it. I think on Instagram or something. I think it's a pretty popular pattern. And I can see why, because it's, so the All Well box top, the like classic, is just a very basic like boxy top sewing pattern, but it has a couple of versions that come in the pattern. So there's like a long sleeve version and there's a ruffle top version, and which is basically just like, it's kind of cropped and then you add a gathered tier on the bottom. And then there's also a really thorough hacking guide, which walks you through like ways to hack the pattern to make all kinds of different projects with it. So the ruffle dress was part of the hacking guide, and it's basically the same as the ruffle top, except you make the like gathered panel much longer so that it's a dress rather than a shirt. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Maybe I should take my sweater off so that you guys can actually see the dress here. So this top part is just like the classic all well box top, and then I did a gathered section here, and this is the second time I've ever gathered, and it definitely went better than last time, and I'm really happy with it. So I made the smallest size, and I think the pattern only has 3 sizes. It's intended to be like really oversized, and I think it is, and I really like this style. It's kind of like the oversized baby doll style, which I'm really into. And let's see, the fabric is from Blackbird Fabrics. This is part of a whole bunch of fabric that I got for my birthday last year from my Grammy. So thank you, Grammy, for this fabric. And it is Viscose Crepe in the baked clay colorway. And I also, I don't know, I just want to, I couldn't say enough positive things about this pattern. I think like just the number of options that you have, the hacking guide was incredible, as well as just the like number of tips and hints and how thorough the pattern was really remarkable. I did this neckline, and it was pretty similar to the neckline that I did for the first shirt I ever sewed, and it went so much better. And I'm sure that's partially because I'm better now than I was before at sewing, but I also think it's because the instructions were really, really good, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I am very proud of it, and I'm excited. Like, I think my first couple projects when I started sewing, I think maybe I was kind of getting my feet under me, and I may have not picked patterns that were, not that they were bad, I don't think they were bad, but I think at the beginning I really wanted someone to kind of like hold my hand and like walk me through the steps really carefully. And I think this pattern, as well as the pants that I did, the Miller trousers, have been much more successful for me. And I think it's partially because I am just better now and I have more experience and it's going better, but also I think because both of those patterns are really well written. Particularly this one, the all well box top, is really, really well written, and it was really easy to understand exactly what I needed to do, as well as just like hints about how to make it go more successfully. And I really loved that. I think that really helped. So anyway, those are my finished objects, and I'm really happy with them, and I think they work really well together. So yeah, the tulip sweater and the all well box top. Right, so works in progress. I have a couple works in progress that I wanted to chat about. One of them you have seen the last podcast or two, and that is my vertical striped sweater, which is a pattern by Petite Knit. I think when I showed it last, I had just finished the body, and then I started on the sleeve. I started on one sleeve, and I paused, and I went and knit the tulip sweater. And then when I finished the tulip sweater, I came back to work on this sweater again. And I had taken the needles out of the sleeve because I needed my small circumference needles for the tulip sweater, for the sleeves on the tulip sweater. And when I came back, I was just, I don't know, I wasn't thinking, and I didn't switch the needle tips back. And so I used a needle size 2 sizes too small, and I finished the sleeve. And I didn't realize it until all the way at the end when I'd already bound off. And so, you know, I was trying to decide what to do. Like, you could really tell actually like where I switched. You could tell that like the gauge had gotten a lot tighter, and also just like the sleeve was tighter than I wanted it to be, and I just was unhappy with it. So I ended up ripping it back all the way, to where I had left off, which was only maybe 3 inches into the sleeve. And then I knit the sleeve again. And I have since finished that sleeve and started the second sleeve. And then after that, I just have to do the neckline, and I think that's it. But I've really enjoyed knitting this. The yarn I'm using, which I should have mentioned before, is Lichen and Lace Sock in the Beach Glass colorway, held together with Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk in color 14, which is like light gray green or something like that. And I'm just knitting the second size of this pattern. It's going to give me a really nice, like, cozy, oversized feel, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, that's how that has been going. So last time I mentioned that, you know how my husband in office has little names for a lot of my projects, or my sweaters, really. So this one he was calling Baby Shark, but at some point he changed it to Riptide, I think. I'm not really sure what is motivating him to name them. Some of them are food, some of them are animals, some of them are, I guess, just feats of nature. But I forgot to tell you, this one, the Tulip sweater, he called Peach Chocolate Chip, I think, which is not a flavor I'm familiar with, but that was the feeling that he got from it. So this is Peach Chocolate Chip, and this is either Baby Shark or Riptide or something else. I don't know. But I'm hoping to finish this in the next couple of days. The sleeves have been going pretty fast. I cast this one on, I think, yesterday actually, and have made this much progress. So I'm hoping I can finish that tonight, and then maybe do the neckline and block it. And yeah, one other, I guess, thing about that, I will say that my sweater knitting is going much faster than I expected. I think I've been really motivated to knit sweaters right now. And my original goal, if you watched my 2021 knitting goals episode or video or whatever, I mentioned that I wanted to knit 8 sweaters this year. And that's like with full sleeves, either cardigans or pullovers, but just 8 garments with full sleeves. And I was a little worried that was ambitious. It was a little bit, I think it was roughly the same number that I knit in 2020, but I knit a whole bunch of other stuff as well. And so, I don't know, I guess I just wanted to make sure that it was a goal that was achievable for me, even though I kind of wanted to shoot for 1 per month. And now that I've been going, this will be my 4th sweater, and we're barely into April. So I'm definitely on pace for 12 sweaters this year and 1 per month. And so I'm thinking about adjusting my goal and shooting for 12 sweaters this year. Once I finish this one, I think I may take the rest of April to finish a couple of other projects that I have on the needles, and maybe not cast on another sweater right away. But I think starting in May, I'm going to start trying to do like roughly 1 sweater per month. And given how like quickly I've been able to do it, I think that should give me time to knit other stuff as well. I don't know. I just feel like I've been knitting a ton, and I've been knitting pretty quickly. Maybe the sweaters that I've done so far this year have been quicker than others that I want to try, but we'll see. I don't know. Potentially we'll be adjusting my sweater knitting goal. And then there's only one other work in progress that I wanted to chat with you guys about, and that is my baseball project. So those of you who have been watching the podcast from the beginning may remember that last year I knit a pair of socks based on the results of the Mariners and Cardinals baseball games. So I striped a different color in the socks based on whether the team won or not. And this year I am also doing a baseball project. I am not doing socks, and I'm actually not doing both the Cardinals and the Mariners this year. I'm only doing the Mariners this year. But I decided I'm going to do a cowl, and I am using the Sockhead cowl pattern by McClure, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And I decided to modify it a little bit. So I think based on the number of rows I'm going to do, it's going to be a little bit longer than the pattern calls for. So I think that'll be okay. I actually shortened the ribbing. You're supposed to do 4 rows. So it's basically just like I guess I should give you a description. It's like a cowl that's just a single wrap, like you don't wrap it around multiple times, but it's just like really close to your neck. And So there's ribbing on both ends, and then you just knit straight and stockinette in like a tube for the middle part. And the ribbing is, the pattern calls for 4 inches of ribbing on each side, but since it's already going to be longer in the middle, I decided to shorten that. I was thinking about maybe only shortening it on one side because I really liked the tall ribbing up like close to your mouth, like close to your face, but it not being symmetric really bothered me. I want the ribbing to be the same on the top and the bottom, so I just did about 2.5 inches of ribbing, and then I will do 2.5 inches of ribbing on the other side as well. And then I'm just striping these 2 colors. So I have this color for if the Mariners win and this color for if they lose. And I already have 3 color stripes in there. The Mariners won their first game, lost their second, and then won their third game. And you probably can't see this because it's very small. There's only a couple stripes in here, but I do have just those 3 stripes for the Mariners results so far. You can see just a little bit. And the yarn that I'm using, so for the gray, I just used some leftover sock yarn I had. This gray is Cascade Heritage. I don't remember the colorway, like light heather gray or something like that. And then the dark blue for if they win is Woolberry Fiber Company, their sock base, which is actually a BFL nylon. And this is in the colorway Oasis, which was part of their desert collection. And then this is actually the same yarn as in my baby shark sweater. So this is Lichen and lace sock in the beach glass colorway. And I really like these colors together. I think the striping will be really fun. And I'm looking forward to working on this throughout the season. Just 1 stripe a day is totally manageable, but I thought I'd give you guys a close-up of these colors. I think they're very pretty. Yeah, and I'm excited about it. So that's my my last project that I've been working on the last couple of weeks. I have a couple of other things on the needles that just haven't gotten much work, but hopefully after I finish this sweater, I will be able to pick some of those back up and make some progress. So yeah, that is all as far as knitting content goes. I don't have any acquisitions this week or the last couple of weeks. I ordered an advent calendar. If you all remember, if you watched last winter, I had the full 24-day Grenouille advent calendar. Grenouille is my very favorite yarn dyer, and I decided to go ahead and get her advent again. So I ordered the Grenouille advent, and I couldn't be more excited about that. I just love her yarn and her colors, but I need to start working on, sorry, I was just checking to make sure that my camera battery doesn't die, but I need to start working on using my advent minis from last year because I don't want to just like start stockpiling minis. I want to make sure that I'm using them, and like especially if I'm going to get another advent calendar. So maybe that will be happening. I have some like shawl projects and like tank projects planned with those minis, so maybe those would be good summer projects if I'm not feeling super into sweater knitting in the summer, but we'll see. Hopefully in a couple months I will start working on my advent projects. But that is all I have for knitting content, but I do have actually some baseball updates. If you all are interested and want to stick around and hear about baseball and life things. The season started, so the regular baseball season started last Thursday, so just a couple days ago. Noflis and I did not end up going to the Mariners opening day. They did have like a limited capacity, but we just felt a little bit more comfortable staying home, and we actually watched baseball. We like Skyped video called my family, and I watched the Cardinals game earlier in the day with my family, and then we watched the Mariners game in the evening with my family on the video call as well, which was really fun. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so we did that, and that was really fun. And then we did put together some baseball foods as well to give us a little bit of that baseball kind of spirit. So we made like hot dogs or like brats, and we did the Seattle dog, which is like cream cheese and grilled onions, which is really yummy. And my family did that as well, which was really fun. So we all ate Seattle dogs. And I went and got French fries, and we put like garlic and cheese on them to make garlic fries. And then what else did we do? I made like some like dip, and we ate chips and dip and veggies and stuff. And oh, I also made apple pie. So for some reason I just associate like apple pie with very like baseball, you know, your traditional like American sport, American dessert. So and a couple years ago I made an apple pie for opening day and brought to my coworkers, and so it feels kind of like a tradition for me now. So I made apple pie again. My mom has a really good apple cream pie recipe, which I really love. So I made that, and we still have some of that, which is exciting. I will have some of that later today. But yeah, that's what we did on Thursday. The Cardinals won on opening day. The Mariners also won in a very exciting fashion. They had a walk-off win, actually a walk-off walk, which was fun. And yeah, the Marlins, which is the other team that I kind of follow along, my husband's favorite team, they lost on opening day. And so far the Cardinals, the 3 games have been played for each of the 3 teams that we kind of follow. The Cardinals and the Marlins are 1-2, so won 1 game, lost 2 games, and the Mariners are 2-1. The Mariners won their first series, which is really fun, really exciting. Yeah, I don't know what else to add there other than it's been fun to see some of the rookies. Dylan Carlson for the Cardinals had a really fun 3-run home run on opening day. The Mariners had a really fun in their first game. There was a couple of really great contributions from rookie Taylor Trammell, and he also got his first hit in yesterday's game, an RBI double, so that was fun. But otherwise, it's just great to have baseball back, and I'm glad to be watching again, and can't wait to, I don't know, just having it on in the background, just like the sounds of baseball has been really fun. So I'm really excited about that. The only other baseball thing I wanted to mention was that just briefly, MLB decided to move the All-Star game. So this is the big thing, kind of like people are talking about that's happening in baseball right now. MLB decided to move the All-Star game from Atlanta because of Georgia's oppressive voting law. So it seems like this is something that other sports have done in the past, either move the All-Star game or just like other collective action to kind of make their voice heard in terms of some of these like oppressive policies. And so it was really great to see the MLB take a stand in that way as well. And I feel really proud to be a part of an organization that stands up in that way, given just the really oppressive nature of the law in Georgia. So that was the other thing that I just wanted to mention that's kind of happening in baseball. But that's really all I have. Otherwise, life has been good. It's starting to get a little bit warmer here. My plants are doing much better. I had a plant that lost a lot of its leaves in the winter and is actually starting to sprout back a little bit, which is really exciting. And yeah, it feels like spring. It feels like baseball's happening, and I'm really excited about that. But I'm glad I got to catch up with you all, and thank you so much for watching. You can find me everywhere as @MWeekurt. And I hope you watch lots of baseball and do lots of knitting and have a great week. Bye.